Hi fellow scrappers, it's Crafty Grandma here, and I wanted to show you what I made from this wonderful collection of DCWV paper collection of the Primrose. It's some beautiful papers. Let me share it with you real quick. And these are some wonderful, beautiful prints. They're single-sided, but I used these in a collection that I made, this wonderful little mini album that I learned from Laura from following the paper trail. And I used, if you'll notice, there's 2 pages of each. Well, if there's only 1 page, that's 1 page that I used. So I still have plenty of pages to use in the future, and I plan on doing so with the same type of collection. And I have to say, and with this paper is a little bit thicker than most, and it's best to wet the edges so the paper won't crease. I used this part in my tags that I made, and quite a few pages that you'll see that are only single-sided. Yeah, I used that page. So first of all, I just wanted to show you all this and then get started on the mini album that I created from this wonderful paper collection. This is another section that I use because there's usually 2 pages, and this one also. So I do want to say thank you very much for my subscribers for sticking with me. I know I haven't had a video put up for quite some time, so it's been a struggle, but I have been making some mini albums that I'd like to share today. So here is one that I made from, like I said, it's from Laura from the Following the Paper Trail, and this is called a magic fold. Now a magic fold is done with 1 12 by 12 paper, and I'll show you real quickly how that's done. Here's a 12 by 12 piece of paper, and this is solid paper, so I'll just use this part. It's a little bit thicker than I used, but it's okay, we'll work with it. Here is what you do. You take one side and fold it in half. You don't need any measures. You don't need anything. It's kind of cool. And you just fold it in half. And this is the direction that she gave us. And I'll use my little phone folder there. Yeah, my first name is Pam. I write my name on everything that I own, so that way nobody takes it when I'm at scrapbooking things. So then you take the one side, fold it in half again. So there you go. No measuring, just creasing and putting it in the right place. So let me just, this is a little thick, as I said, and it's a little more difficult to work with, so bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go. All right, see, it creased before I needed it to, but that's okay. It's just for showing you. And you probably wouldn't work this thick of paper, I'm sure. So then you take this corner with the double thing that you've made here and fold it down to the edge here. And this is thick. I hope it's going to work. We'll make it work. That's what we'll do. And crease it. Okay, so 1 crease there. Do the same thing on the other end. So this is at the fold that you made, you created for the 6.5, 6 by 6 folding in half, and then half again on one side. Okay, so this is where you invert these corners to the inside. Now let me show you. You just take it here, invert this inside, fold it back on itself, and you've got a crease there. Plus, you got a pocket. See? You'll have a pocket right there. Can you see it? A pocket goes right there. You'll be gluing down these edges here, and I'll show you when. You go ahead and do the other side, invert it in, go back out, and that's where you get this wonderful little magic fold. It's called the magic fold, and it is a magic fold. So when you end up with a little doodad like that. Okay, you've got one solid side of 6-inch, and then this you've got 6-inch, but you fold it in half. So now you've got 3 inches on either side. So what you would do, would glue down this portion across the whole top there. And then when you would glue it down, you would make sure that it stays nice and fast. And then you would fold this in half. Now you make quite a few of these. You make 5 or 6. I think 5's a good measure. I made too many, I think. I put 6, and it makes a bigger album. So 5 is plenty because it gives you plenty of landscape to put any photos. So then you would fold that in half. So now you've got a crease down the middle of your 6 by 6. Well, it's not 6 by 6, 6 by 3 now. So what I did though is I glued this little inside here to stay. And so it made it look really good. So then you would take another one that you've made and glue the same surface back to back like this. So that when you open up, you have 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to have. And then of course you put your chipboard on the front and on the back, and you've got all this wonderful landscape inside to make photos. So let me show you my album. That probably will give you a better idea. Here's my album that I made. And I hope the lighting is going to agree with me today. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit so that you guys can see a little bit closer detail. I hope I can do this correctly so you don't have too much glare. Okay, there is going to be a shine because I used Mod Podge on the front. And the reason why I did the Mod Podge, and this is the matte, and I used the Mod Podge so when people would handle this or whatever, no stains would get on there from fingerprints or, even, how oils from your hands will disfigure some of your mini albums, and you worked a lot of hours in those, and it's not a good idea to have that happen. So that's what I did. I decoupaged the front. So here is a little butterfly that I made with my slice machine, and I of course stickled it so it would give a little glitter. I love glitter. And I made this little swirl things on the ends there. That also is done with my slice machine, which I like because it's easy to travel with it, and I don't need anything more than 4 inches big anyway because I make mini albums. If I was making 12 by 12, then I would use my Cricut. But right now, I use my slice a lot. So I stickled a lot of these. This is the butterfly that I stickled. I also stickled another butterfly, which is underneath these flowers, which I have to say I made from the ribbon that I have attached. And here's the ribbon roll that I used. It's from Michael's, and this is how I used it. And then I cut them up into circles, and I also scalloped them a little bit. So here's what you'll see. And then what you do is you take a candle that you candle or whatever you can't use a lighter because it would hurt your hands, but you take a candle and you hold them over the flame like this, and it's probably best to use tweezers, of course. But you hold it over the flames and you melt the edges because this is polyester. Polyester melts, and then it forms this little curvatures in the flowers itself. So it's fun to work with. Try it a couple times. You probably will do great. I used only 4 pieces. This one has 3 and this one has 2. So I used 5 pieces that I cut up. Plus, I used little seed beads to put inside. Can you see those little seed beads? Those are little seed beads, black seed beads that I put in there. And this is the same ribbon that I closed my album with that I made the flowers with. So it kind of makes it join together a little bit. So anyway, let me show you this album. I'm going to zoom out a little bit now so that you can see a little bit better. And I'll try to get this centered a little more. Let me put that away because we don't need that. Untie the front. I gave it a tie closure because this may get a little fatter, as you can see. It does have some room to grow, but you can actually just do knots if you don't have bows. So I figure I need to shorten this up a little bit, but I didn't. So here's the first page. Now here is the magic fold. Do you see what I'm saying? You can really use this for a lot of area that you can put photos in. And on this little sidekick here, this little side slit that was there, this is where I put a little tag. So, and these tags, see this little impression here? I love this. Let me see if I can focus in. This is from Etsy, and she had, I think it was 8 or 9 of these little squared photos or creations that she made on an 8.5 by 11, and I printed them out, cut them up, and I used my wonderful edging scissors that I have had for years. I don't even know where I got them, but this is the kind of edge that they make on this border here that you can see right on the edge. And it's just like an old-fashioned, I don't know if you can tell from that. Can you see it at all? That's what puts the edge on this. And then I, of course, used my walnut stain to give it a little depth to it. And then I used a colored background that would match the paper. This one is actually in a kind of a lavender. I don't know if you can see that correctly. But I used those scissors a lot on some of these because I like this deckled edge. It's kind of really pretty. It's an old antique type thing. So that's what I put in for my little tags. And then I also fussy cut some of the ones that were in the collection for a photo frame. And you can put a photo inside here. Let me see if it kind of offset this white balance here. And then you can place a photo there and slide it back in. And you can either journal on the back of that or journal on the back of this or add another photo. It depends on what you'd like to do. And as you can see, these are little flags that were in the collection also on one of those pages that I showed you. I used a lot of the tags. Well, this was in there too. So I used some lettering and I put on there LOL, laugh out loud. So that would be our laugh out loud for silly things that happened. Although, I don't know, Shabby Chic, do you even have anything that happens funny? Who knows? I stickled and I also did some of this, what is this called? This glossy accents on a lot of the flowers and such that you'll see that shine because I like to give it a little dimension. So it's even hard to tell. I don't know if you can see the shininess of it. Not really, huh? Well, anyway, I can guarantee you there's shiny stuff on here. And it shows it with the glossy accents. Here's some more of the tags that I made. Here's one that came with the collection. This is another that came with the collection, and I backed it with some green. And here's another printout of one of the, I think I got 2 or 3 of the Shabby Chic papers. And that's what I came up with, and I used them. I really used them. And I also did the deckled edge on this along with using the walnut stain. And here's a little tag that I used with my angel wing stamp, or punch, I should say. And I punched out 2 of them. Gosh, this light is terrible. Punched out 2 of them, and it shows the pink in the background. And then I also glitzed up the wings to give them a little dimension too. So I love angel wings, and I love fairies, and I need to do a fairy book, that's for sure. And I, of course, stickled on some of this one. This is from the collection. And I don't need to go through everything, but I used a lot of that paper that I downloaded. Some of the tags, glossy accent, that one you can see, and it's blank on the other side. Here's some more of the different tags that she had that I use. I love them. And I can use them for anything that I need to use them for sure. But I also made, this is can you see the little butterflies? They're kind of shiny. And I have that vine punch that I use there. Plus I use stickles on for the leaves. And I made a little album that you can write in. And this paper is so paper thin. I don't know where I got it, but I have quite a bit of it. So, but it's very nice, very thin, very old looking. And that's what I kind of like. So I made a little writing album, memo, or whatever you'd like to call it. Here again is another one using that those papers, which aren't they pretty? And here's a little butterfly that I punched out and used my walnut stain and went over the hole of the punch, and gave it like a little shadow effect. Isn't that cool? So here's something you can put 2 pictures on and then a picture on the back. So that's just something I made up for that. More landscapes where you can put photos and incorporate any journaling. I tell you, this was kind of fun to do. This one doesn't even show up. It looks like it's not even there, but there is a little tag that you can journal on. Has another yardstick type of numbering. Here's 10, 11, 12. It got kind of cut off. And another one for journaling and putting a picture on. Some more of these tags that I used the download of all those beautiful papers. And it continues. And here's some more. This is actually in the collection, and I used some stickles to get it a little depth to it. Here's another one that was in the collection too, and I used a tag for that. Made a tag, I should say. And anything that's glued down in the front here to make any type of entry here, that is also in the collection. I hate it when it gets crooked. Sorry. So another tag that came from that little paper collection that I downloaded from Etsy. And here's another booklet to journal on and tell what about there's about 9 pages, or let's see, about 8 pages in here of that very thin page. And then of course the little butterfly. So, and this one's from the collection. It says a postcard, and I did some little stickles on that. And another tag made from the other collection that I downloaded, which I love. I suggest you try that because that is nice to do, and it's not that expensive. And you get it downloaded. You can print it on your computer. And if you have any type of Photoshop or anything, you can increase the color or not. It's up to you. So here is something that I fussy cut out on one of the pages. I don't know if you noticed the yellow canary. And he has a crown on him, which I had to stickle, of course, make it glitzy. Here's another little emblem here that you can put a saying on. Another tag that I created out of the out of the paper collection. This one has identification card. That's what it says on there. And that's from the collection. Here's from the collection again. I made those little flag tags, and I made a banner. And it says FAV, fave, for favorite. I thought, we all know what those letters mean now. So I figured I'd use it in the album. Here's some more and more from the collection that I downloaded. And here we go again. And this one is from the collection in the paper. I love that. That's a wonderful little ticket. It's all done just like that. And I made a backing on that, of course. Another tag to be a photo on there, and I put a little gold butterfly there. It kind of came out fat, but it's okay. It's a noticeable thing. Here's another paper, like I showed you, that I collected from Etsy. And again, from Etsy, but I made this one kind of like in a book, and you can put 2 4x6 and another 4x6 on the back, and you can journal wherever you'd like to on this tag, saying what's in there, what the collection is about, and more of the collection papers that I downloaded. And you can put these any place you want. So that's our last page. Thank you for stopping by and seeing what I've made out of this wonderful paper collection from DCWC. And it's called Primrose. And if you want me to do a demonstration on these flowers, I certainly can. And everybody, happy scrapping. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye now.